What if I told you that the most powerful way to make a man chase you is to do absolutely nothing? No texts, no checking to see if he watched your stories, no asking how his day went, nothing at all. It feels strange, doesn't it? Almost like going against everything we've been taught about connection and romance. But here's where Carl Jung's teachings come in, and everything starts to shift. Because when you withdraw your energy from someone, you stop feeding their ego. And that's when something raw and honest starts to surface. Their true intentions. This isn't a tactic for manipulation. It's not a game. It's power. Your power. Most women don't realize this. Their constant emotional, mental, and spiritual presence always available. Always giving makes them invisible over time. Not because they lack value, but because they've never given a man the opportunity to experience the ache of missing them. In psychological terms, Jung called this projection. We shine our light onto someone else, hoping they'll reflect it back to us. But when we stop giving endlessly and instead open ourselves to receive, something surprising happens. He begins to chase you. So even if your full attention isn't here right now, let the video keep playing in the background, because your subconscious already knows what your heart has been whispering for a long time. You've been giving too much, and now it's time for him to start showing up for you. Stay with this one until the end. Some truths don't hit right away, they unfold. Let it play, even in the background. What you're meant to hear will find you. Energetic power. Why ignoring creates magnetic pull. Here's a truth most people will never say out loud. Men don't fall deeply in love when you give them everything. They fall when they begin to feel the loss of what you once gave without hesitation. Think about it. Human nature is wired to chase. We desire the things we fear we might lose. We're drawn to what feels just out of reach. Carl Jung once said, "What we chase reveals unconscious parts of ourselves, a desire, a fear, a wound. So when you stop being a constant stream of emotional validation, when you stop chasing and begin ignoring the right way, you become a mystery. And mystery is magnetic." Chasing a man often comes from fear. The fear of being abandoned. The fear of not being good enough. The fear that he'll forget you. But the moment you shift your energy inward, the moment you stop striving to be chosen, something transforms inside of you. You become rare. You become scarce. And scarcity, in the human psyche, creates value. Have you noticed how those who seem the least interested often receive the most attention? It's not because they're cruel, and it's not toxicity. It's their energy. It doesn't beg. It doesn't cling. It's free. That's what energetic power feels like. You don't need to say a word. Your silence becomes your presence. Because the moment you chase, you silently crown him as the center of your world. But when you step back, he starts asking questions. Why did she stop reaching out? Did something happen? Is she seeing someone else? And just like that, you're living in his mind. This isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about changing direction. You stop pouring all your energy into him, and you pour it into yourself, your peace, your transformation, your quiet. All of that speaks louder than the most poetic "I miss you." And don't confuse ignoring with rudeness. This isn't about cruelty. It's about boundaries. It's about choosing not to show up for situations that don't nourish you. When you start recognizing your own worth, you stop performing to prove it. You begin to embody it. And that's when he feels what he never expected. The space you left behind. Stop feeding his ego, emotional absence as power. There's something many men won't admit. But women can feel it. They like being pursued. Not always because they care deeply, but because it feeds their ego. Every time you answer quickly, every time you check in, every time you're the first to break the silence, you're not rebuilding connection. You're reinforcing his sense of control. Carl Jung warned us about this dynamic. When we give too much of ourselves and receive nothing in return, he said, we're not loving, we're acting unconsciously. We're following patterns we may not even realize we're repeating. And those patterns, they're rooted in fear, not in real love. Now understand this. Most men aren't narcissists, but many become addicted to the comfort of always being desired. And when that constant supply of validation disappears, something inside them stirs. It panics. Because suddenly, the mirror that once made them feel so seen is gone. It's not necessarily you he misses. It's how he felt when he was around you. That version of himself confident, admired, pursued, isn't being reflected anymore. You're absent, and that absence, it's a blow to the ego. Here's the twist. If he only wanted your attention, he'll fade when the supply runs out. But if you truly mattered, if your essence left an imprint, he'll begin to search. Your absence becomes a test, a sorting mechanism. It reveals who's truly interested and who was only feeding off your light. Carl Jung believed we all live behind masks. We wear personas to hide our deeper selves. And when you're always present, always giving, you're feeding that surface mask. But when you step back, he's forced to confront what's underneath. That unease he feels, that confusion, that's not about you. That's his ego, unraveling, and that's your power. So how do you stop feeding his ego without falling into coldness? Don't reply right away. Don't start conversations. Don't explain your silence. Don't post to your story just so he'll see it. Let your absence do the work. Let your mystery live. You're not here to convince a man that you're worthy. The right man will feel your presence. But more importantly, he'll prove his intentions in your absence. When you finally stop giving out so much, something shifts inside you. Your energy resets. You stop surviving off crumbs. You become the entire table. And the man who once felt so sure of your place in his life will suddenly realize he may have lost the most extraordinary thing he ever had. Silence is not emptiness. It holds tension. It carries mystery. It plants seeds of doubt. And for a man who has always been granted easy, uninterrupted access to you, that silence rings like an emotional alarm. Suddenly, he can't predict your next move. He has no clue what's going on inside your mind. And that unpredictability drives him insane. It's simple psychology. What's taken for granted often slips through our fingers. But what disappears, silently, without explanation, becomes an obsession. When you make the conscious choice not to react, not to respond, not to reach out, you create a sacred space, a space that forces him to reflect. What did I do wrong? Why isn't she chasing me anymore? What changed between us? And as these questions echo through his mind, he's not just thinking about you. He's forced to face something deeper, his own emotional immaturity. Carl Jung called this process confronting the shadow. It's that darker part of us we deny, reject, avoid. The insecurities, the pride, the fears we pretend don't exist. And when you walk away in silence, you offer him no distractions, no comfort, no cushion. He is left alone, with himself, and that's where transformation begins. The discomfort he feels, it isn't about you. It's about what your absence triggers inside him. That's why silence is never punishment. It's revelation. Every unanswered message, every call you don't return, every moment where you choose your peace over his comfort is a declaration. I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm not dancing with your ego. I've chosen myself. And no, you don't need to block him out of spite. You don't need to leave him on read in a show of anger. You don't need to stage a dramatic exit. You just quietly disappear. In the calmest, cleanest, clearest way possible. Not to control, not to punish, but to remind yourself that you're no longer the woman who chases someone who can't see her. And when that emptiness finally touches him, he will react. Maybe with late-night texts, maybe through indirect jabs, maybe with defensiveness or misplaced anger. But don't let yourself get confused. That's not love. That's his ego, trying to reclaim something he thought he owned, trying to regain a comfort that's no longer his. Now, if he genuinely cares about you, he won't let go so easily. But this time, you're the one with the power. You get to decide if he's still worth it. Let him wonder how to create a void. He wants to fill one of the most powerful, most graceful strategies a woman can ever use, is to simply let him ask the questions. When you're constantly available, always explaining, always fixing, you rob him of the opportunity to wonder. He doesn't need to think. You're already doing the emotional labor for both of you. But when you stop explaining, when you stop solving, when you simply pull away without drama or declarations, something profound fills the silence. Questions, uncertainty, that haunting curiosity of why. Why did she disappear? Why is her energy so different now? Carl Jung once said, "The unconscious moves through symbols." And when you walk away without a script, without a performance, without leaving a trail of clues, you become that symbol, an enigma, something he doesn't understand, but desperately wants to decode. Men don't chase what's easy to grasp. They chase what challenges their perception. What forces them to feel? Think of it this way. If he knows you'll always be there, if he senses that you'll always come back, he has no reason to move. But if one day he realizes you're not replying like you used to, your tone has changed, your presence feels distant, something inside him stirs. He starts rereading old conversations. He scrolls through your photos. He plays back memories in his head. He starts to wonder if he made a mistake. That void you left, now it's growing inside him. It weighs on him. It unsettles the rhythm he once took for granted. And like any human being, he'll feel a need to close the gap. But here's the crucial part. Don't rush in to close it for him. Don't break the spell. Let him make the move. Let him wonder. Let him question. Let him chase. If you step in too soon, if you explain what he's feeling before he even has a chance to feel it fully, you break the mirror. You undo the tension. Because this isn't a game. This is clarity. It's not about winning. It's about revealing who is truly willing to move toward you on his own. And if he does, if he takes that step, if he seeks you with genuine effort, if he shows intention and consistency, then you've moved out of chasing and into receiving. That's the shift. Your silence was the mirror. Your absence was the message. And if he truly desires your presence again, he must prove through action, not words, that he's learned the lesson, because you were never meant to be an option. You were never designed to be a backup. You are not here to be his source of emotional comfort on demand. You're here to be chosen, intentionally, fully, clearly. And if that means walking away in silence, then let that silence be your most powerful act of self-love. When you disconnect, you begin to shine. The beauty of emotional distance. There is an undeniable, quiet kind of beauty in the woman who walks away, without shouting, without drama, without trying to make him feel guilty. She simply leaves, not out of coldness, but out of clarity, out of evolution. Carl Jung described a process called individuation. It's the spiritual and psychological journey where a person begins to separate themselves from society's expectations, from external validation, and reconnect with their most authentic inner self. And when you make the decision to walk away from a man who won't give you what you deserve, that's exactly what you're doing. You're not seeking proof of your worth in someone else's gaze anymore. You're finding it inside you. And the moment you begin that inward journey, your energy transforms. You shine differently. You're no longer the woman who waits for him to change. You're no longer pleading for attention, affection, or crumbs. You become the woman who chooses herself every time. And that shift, it's not invisible. Even if he never says it, he notices. He feels it. He senses that you're not emotionally accessible the way you used to be. He can tell that you're not reacting the same, that something about you has changed at the core. There's a new version of you emerging, a version that no longer revolves around his orbit. The woman who does her makeup for herself, the one who laughs alone, the one who goes to bed without waiting on a message that may never come. She is centered. She is connected. She is complete. And the most ironic twist in all of this, that distance he first perceived as a loss slowly transforms into a magnetic pull. Because now, you don't need him, and nothing is more attractive than a woman who no longer needs to be chased, because she has become the center of her own world. That confidence, that calm self-possession, he feels it. He may not understand it, but he senses the shift. Men always do. They feel it in their gut. They smell it in your energy. And suddenly, without even realizing it, they miss you more. They reach out, not because you're still waiting, but because you've already moved on. Because what once circled around them has become its own sun. And all they can do now is watch it rise. But then, something shifts. He begins to miss you more than he expected. He reaches out, trying to grasp what you've already outgrown. But here's the truth. You need to hold close. You didn't walk away so you would come running back. You walked away to return to yourself. And if he does come back, let it be because he finally recognized your value. Not because his pride was bruised. Let it be because he genuinely wants to grow with you, not because he's afraid of losing control. You are not here to beg for love. You're not here to chase it. You are here to attract love from a place of deep wholeness. So yes, disconnect, not as a punishment, but as a sacred return to yourself. And when you do, you'll start to witness something powerful. Your inner light, the one no one can dim, begins to pull in exactly what your soul deserves. Set boundaries without explaining them. We often believe that setting boundaries means long talks, careful explanations, repeated clarifications. But in truth, the most unshakable boundaries are never spoken. They are lived. Carl Jung once said, "What is not integrated into our consciousness will manifest as fate." And what does that mean if you're not fully aware of your own worth? You will continue attracting people who overlook it. That's why walking away quietly, with no argument, no tantrum, no warning, is sometimes the most powerful boundary you can create. A boundary that requires no words, not responding to messages that carry no real intention, not saying yes to last-minute plans that disrespect your time, not being available for someone who only comes around when it suits them. All of this, silently and powerfully, says, with me, it's all, or it's nothing. That's called self-respect. Because no matter how many times you say, I deserve better, if your actions still accept the bare minimum, he will not believe you. And not because he's malicious, but because you've shown him that your love is negotiable and true love is not. To set real energetic boundaries, you must be consistent. If he texts whenever he pleases, and you reply instantly every time, that's your boundary. If he's seen with another woman, and you still forgive him without true change, that's your boundary too. Not what you say, but what you tolerate. When a man begins to feel that the access he once had is no longer guaranteed, he senses something has shifted. And that shift is you. You're no longer playing second to anyone. You've stopped settling for emotional crumbs. You've stopped waiting for him to give you the place you've always had the power to give yourself. And here's the best part. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to explain yourself. You just act differently. That alone is enough to shake a man's ego. A woman who walks away without a performance, who doesn't chase closure, who simply disappears. That woman leaves a mark. That kind of energy is unforgettable, because more than words ever could. Your actions declare, I am no longer available for anything less than what I deserve. That is real clarity. That is true, quiet strength. That is a boundary. Let him come to you, the final test of his intention. After everything you've given him, after all the emotional effort you poured in, isn't it time for him to show up for you? Carl Jung said, when you stop acting from fear, you begin to see reality as it is. And this applies to love just as much as life. When you stop insisting, stop being the one who's always available. Stop being the one who makes the first move every time a deeper truth begins to surface. And that truth is this. Is he really here for you, or only for what you provide? Because when you stop reaching out, when you stop wondering if he still cares, when you refocus entirely on your peace, your growth, your life, he will feel the shift. And in that space, he has only two choices: let you go, or come after you. And that reaction, it says everything. Because the man who wants to stay will stay. The man who wants to see you will make it happen. And the man who truly values you, he won't wait until you go silent to finally give you the place you deserved all along. But to see all of this clearly, you must remain still. Don't send signals. Don't post for him to notice. Don't play the games. Just hold your silence. He'll know. He'll feel the change. And if he really cares, he'll show it. Not with empty promises or sweet words, but with effort, with clarity, with a genuine intention to build, not just regain power. And if he doesn't come, that's okay too, because in that absence, you gain something far more sacred: freedom. Freedom from investing in someone who doesn't know how to care for you. When you make this final move, the one where you stop moving, everything shifts. You are no longer in waiting mode. You are no longer chasing. You are in queen mode. And in that place, only what adds value to your life is allowed to enter. If you've made it to this point, it's not because of him. It's because of you. Because something inside you is awakening. The part of you that refuses to settle. The part of you that no longer gives everything out of fear. The woman who now chooses herself first. Always, fully. Carl Jung said, "Don't hold on to those who walk away from you, so that those who want to come closer can." This video isn't about making a man chase you. It's about reminding you that you are worthy of being chosen, not conditionally, not eventually, but completely. And that when you stop chasing, you begin to attract what your soul truly deserves. Subscribe if you want more content that speaks of you and to you. Let me know in the comments what part resonated most. And remember, your silence is more powerful than you think. See you in the next one.